share screen, and this one will come in. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. It's showing the full presentation, and now you have clicked. Yes, perfect. I think it's working perfectly now. Great. So it's time now. We are ready to start the session.
Yep.
So let's get going.
Right.
Very good evening, everyone. Very good evening to Mr. Manish Johri, and thank you for agreeing to do this session with us on the Next Genius webinars. I am Devesh Lati, the program manager at the Next Genius Foundation, and I welcome all of you to this webinar with Mr. Manish Johri from Busan Center in Pune. This session is being recorded, and we'll share the recording with you. It's also going to be available on our YouTube channel. And before we start the presentation, I would like to tell you a little bit about uh, Busan Center in Pune. So whether you like it or not, but marks, academics, and marks in the schools are important. This session will show you uh, this session will show you a peek into how studies could be made enjoyable while getting clues to perform better at school. So, without any further ado, Mr. Manitori, welcome to the session, and it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Devesh. Hello, guys. Hi, friends. Like Devesh mentioned, I'm from the Busan Center here. I'll talk a little bit more about it as we go. But to give you a very brief view of who I am, well, this is the way I look at it. I'm an engineer, MBA. I have my own industry. I'm an advisor. I'm the CEO of the Busan Center. I like to expand in e-learning and my hobbies. What do you think this is? Well, this is my CV. The CVs that were earlier shown and seen in the industry are very typical. You know, you have words in a particular format. The color is always black. And this is a different way, right? So there is a change. Let's find out whether there is some change in the other sectors that we see around us. For example, in the telecom industry. How many of you have seen this kind of a phone? I'm sure if you're students, not very many. You all are more used to this kind of a smartphone, right? So there is a huge difference, a huge change in the telecom industry. What about the transportation industry? How many of you have seen this kind of a car? Probably only in museums now, but I'm sure you have seen these, right? But let's see, you know, the earlier ones I showed you, your parents must have seen that. Your teachers must have seen those, but you guys are more used to this. What about the education industry? Well, I'm sure your parents would agree that this is the way we used to study. And I feel that this is the way that you guys are studying today. So there's not much of a huge difference between the education industry 10, 15, 20, 50 years ago and what it is today. The only difference being that instead of physical books, now you have it all on digital medium, right? All right, let's see. Would you all do this? When we were asked to go in our room and study, well, this is the tantrum that we used to push. Do you all also throw the same kind of tantrum? Don't want to study? Yes? All right. So let's try to just analyze how are we studying today in the present terms. Just because like Devesh mentioned, you guys are planning to do well in your academics and then go in for higher studies. One thing that is very important across the world, whether we like it or not, is marks. You score the right marks, you'll at least get a chance to apply to the universities that you want to apply. Otherwise, you have that cutoff mark. If you don't match that mark, you can't even apply to them. So that's how important marks are. So let's try to see how do we study today. You know, we did a small survey and we found that students do 5 things when they study. First, they open their books and read. Okay, now the books might be e-books also. Second, they underline important words and make their notes. Third, they memorize these notes in some way. And if you ask your teachers or your parents, I'm sure they would also identify with this because this is the way we also grew up studying. Fourth, we used to go back to old question papers and hope that the same or similar question is repeated for us. And finally, guys, you know what we used to do? We used to pray. I'm sure you all do the same even today. And praying is not only personal, but praying is the family, the extended family, the entire community at times, right? Well, these are the 5 steps that we do. Now, unfortunately, most education institutions do not cover the first 3, which is how to read fast with understanding, how to make brain-friendly notes, and how to memorize them. If you know these 3 well, the next 4th and 5th are easy. You don't even need them. Now, for your information, the first 3 is what we help you do. We concentrate on the first 3 and we help you do that. Let's go a little more deeper in this. Okay. So right now when we study, your brain is actually not engaged at all. You find it very boring, and when you're boring, you switch off, you sleep off, right? Let's find out something, right? Let's look at each of them, like I mentioned, right? The first one is reading. How many hours a day do you think you would be studying if you're really serious about your marks? If you have a chat box or if there is a way that you can communicate, just let us know. If not, just keep a number in your head. How many hours a day do you study? Okay. The second question that I'd like you to ask is, what is your reading speed? And how many words a minute do you think you read? I would like you to think about that. And if you can tell me, very nice that you all are responding on the chat. That's great. Would you be able to tell me, is the poll ready here? Yeah, I would like to.
Yes, it's ready. Yeah, I'll
Poll.
post the poll now. Yeah,
Yes.
should I launch it now?
Yeah, you can launch that now.
Okay.
Which is, what is yes? If you all could just fill this up, it would be nice. What do you estimate your reading speed to be? Is it less than 100, 100 to 200, 200 plus, or you have not sure about it, haven't measured it ever? Just let us get an idea. Okay. I think that's enough time for them. Let's have the result of the poll, can we? Let's get a sense of what they are at. Okay, most of them think they are 200 plus, very nice. And then we haven't measured, right? Great. You know, this is something that will be very interesting for you to find out. Actually, when you sit back and check, just go home and check it out, right? Great. Because what can be measured can be really improved. Now, do you think there is any relationship between understanding and the reading speed? Do you think there is any relationship between understanding and the speed of reading? That means, do you feel that if you read slow, you'll be able to understand? Does it guarantee that? Or do you feel that if I read fast, I may not understand? Well, for you to check, those of you who like to read storybooks in magazines, novels, do you all read those storybooks and novels slowly as compared to a textbook, or do you read it fast? I'm sure you read it faster. And while reading fast, are you able to follow the plot? Know exactly what the characters are doing? Well, I'm sure you can. And if a friend asks you about a book a few days later, I'm sure you'd be able to explain that whole thing to him. But when it comes to studies, why do we read slow? Because we've all been conditioned to believe that we need to read slow. That's what we'd like to break, that myth of yours. Reading needs to be done faster, and it happens with better comprehension. You know what happens actually? The time available to study today has come down. Look at the amount of time you're spending on traveling. Forget about the pandemic situation. Otherwise, travel time, your social media time, your social distraction time, all that is increasing. Where is that time coming from? From your study time. So your time available to study has come down. And on the other hand, the quantum of information to be absorbed has gone up substantially, exponentially at times. So if you're going to read at the same speeds that you feel you're reading now, how will you ever cope up? It's very difficult. I'd like to introduce to you my life and business partner, Jas Johari. She is the world speed reading champion. Now, the thing here that you need to know is that this is a learnable skill. It is no longer a good to know skill. It is a must know skill. You have to learn how to read fast. Once you do that, you'll become a smarter person in your class, right? So that's the first part, reading. The second activity that we do is we take notes, right? All of us have taken this kind of a note. Typically, it's in a blue or a black pen, right? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, as you know, we all underline the words. So what I'm going to do is on the next slide, I'm going to share with you 30 words that I have underlined in a particular passage. And I've just picked up those words and put them up here in this slide. I'm going to share these 30 words on this slide for you for just 20 seconds. All right. I'd like you to go through them and then let's see what happens to it. All right. Ready? Here goes. All right. You know, the way that we used to study when our parents used to go into a room and start studying, well, this is what typically used to happen. And even today, if you're ever feeling not sleepy, pick up a book and you'll definitely fall asleep. All right. Now, again, beliefs. Do you think there is any relationship between understanding and memory? That means, do you feel that if you have understood, you will remember? What do you feel? Just put it in your chat box. Do you think that there is any relationship between that, understanding and memory? Okay. All right. So let's have the second poll. Okay. Let's see what somebody says. No, haven't responded. All right. Never mind. Let's have the second poll where I'd like you to now estimate the number of words that you were able to recall from the 30 words that I sent you. Run them in your head, count them on your fingers. Okay, I think we could call it now. Let's have the results and see how many students are scoring what. Okay, most of you are between 10 to 20, all right? Now, is that an estimation or is it really you've run them through your head and seen it? For you to check. And I've given you a pretty wide range, okay, 10 to 20. Is it 10, 11, 12, or is it on the higher side for you to check? And those of you who said it's more than 20, hats off to you. I might just ask you to write them down and check. Yeah, but something for you to check on your own. All right, let's see. Okay, great. Now, we'll come back to this a little later. Those of you who felt that understanding will ensure memory, well, you understood all the previous words on that slide. How come you did not remember all of them? Because as per your statement that if you feel that understanding ensures memory, you should have got them all right. My submission to you is it does not happen that way. Understanding does not necessarily guarantee memory. That's what we help you show that. Let's see whether there can be a different way of feeding the notes to our brain so that we do better. Our aim is to engage our brain from that sleepy head into a more energized brain. All right, so let's see how we can make that happen. Now I'm going to share with you on the next slide the same 30 words for the same time of 20 seconds given to the same brain. And now let's see what happens. Okay, here goes. Okay, the way that we've all been conditioned to take notes, we write words, numbers, one below the other, all of them in a single color. Single color means monotone, which is the base of the word monotonous. And when it's monotonous, what happens? You are bored. And what happens to your brain? You switch off. You are disengaged. So what's happening? Just the way we are presenting information to the brain in that single color, your brain is disengaged. Okay, so let's have the next poll. How many words now do you think you'll be able to recall out of those 30? Let's have the poll and check. Okay, all right. Now let's try to see the results. Well, everybody has moved away from the 0 to 10. Everybody has gone higher, and a lot more of you have gone to the third stage, right? Wow, so that means there is definitely a huge difference in the way you've been able to recall. Now, do remember, those are the same words given to the same brain for the same time of 20 seconds, and see the difference it's made to you, right? So that's great, isn't it? But this is just part of the way the brain is worked. The way you have fed information is beautiful, has changed, has improved your recall. Now let's see if there's something else that we can do to improve that to another level. We've been feeding a lot of information to our brain, but does really anybody know how our brains work? You know what I'm going to do now? A small experiment. I'm going to call out some random words. Okay, you have fed in a lot of information to the brain. I'm going to call out some random words. And I'd like you to think about what you saw and how fast you saw it once I say the word aloud. All right, very clear? I'm going to call out a word. You're going to try to see it. What is it that you see and how fast do you see it? All right, so the word is Australia. Okay, the word is pizza. Okay, the word is car. Can you quickly in your chat box just type in what is it that you saw? Let me get a sense of it. When I asked you to see Australia, what is it that you saw? Yeah? Did you see an image? Maybe the map? Did you see a kangaroo? Okay. When I said pizza, did you see an image? When I said the car, did you see the image of a car which had some shape, had some color? Wow. My point to you is, why did you see the image? Stay with it. Something for you to think about. So what we like to do is, let's see if we can change the way the notes are being fed to the brain. Now, you told me that your brain has naturally seen some color, some images. So now let's see, if we introduce color and image, how does our brain behave? So in the next slide, the same 30 words will be given to you in a brain-friendly way. Let's see it for 20 seconds and see what happens. Okay, Devesh, let's have the poll. Now, how many words do you think you can recall? Same 30 words, same time of 20 seconds to the same brain. Let's see what the results are. Wow. A substantial increase in the 20 to 30 bracket, right? Huge. Isn't that amazing? What changed? The way we fed information to the brain changed. Wow. You guys are amazing, right? Now, the third activity that we need to do is memorize. So first we've done reading, then how to make notes, and now memorize. You know, you guys listen to lectures in the classrooms. Do you have an idea of what happens after you heard the lecture? What happens to your ability to recall the information as time goes by? Now, if I were to draw a graph of recall versus time, okay, how do you think this graph should look? Will the graph be constant? That means you are able to recall the material of the passage of time? Or do you think that it's going to go up or going to go down? What do you feel? Decreasing, fades away with time, very true. Yes. Go down exponentially, all right. Very nice. Okay. You know, actually what happens? Well, our brain actually, it falls down. Most of us say it goes down, right? Now, there must be a particular way the graph will be. What's the slope of the graph? For some of us, it is in this format. For some of us, it might be a slight plateau and then it falls down. For some, it might be not sure whether I actually remember or not. But you know, a secret, when I was your age, it used to be almost a vertical drop. Teacher has gone out of the class and it's all out. But the one in purple is the way our brain actually behaves. Looking at the graph, would you like to take a guess on the percentage of what you recall or forget versus time? You know, it's been found that we tend to forget almost 80% of the details in the first 24 hours. It's very easy for us to check. If on Monday you've attended a lecture, on Wednesday, if there is a surprise test, you'll know how much you remember. Yeah. This is the way our brain is. But what we do at Awaken the Genius is we help you change that way. Memory systems, we help you do that better. And I'm not doing anything great for you. You are telling me that you can do it better. Why? Because if I ask you, how many times do you have to listen to a song before you can remember it? What number comes to your mind? How many times do you have to remember? It's a new song. You've heard it. How many times do you have to remember? Once or twice, hardly. Very true. 2 to 3 times. Very true. Then, why does the same brain need to read that history chapter 5 times, physics chapter 7 times, and still not remember everything? Okay, interest is part of it. I will come back to that, Shyam. I'll tell you, interest may be a small part, but there is something more. So what we'd like to do is transform this sleeping brain, disengaged brain. When you are studying, you tend to fall asleep because you are not interested, you're disengaged. Everybody is telling you to study hard, right? That's all that the parents can do and your teachers can do, tell you to study hard. Now, we'd like to help you get transformed into a brain that is more engaged, a lot better. Right now, you all have been investing a lot of time, effort, and money in studying. But now it's time for change. No need to study hard anymore. You need to study smart. You know, just imagine, how are we feeding information to the brain? Let's say, for example, car, C-A-R. It's in your notes. It's on your electronic media. C-A-R is how we are feeding it in. How did your brain process it? It was almost instantly, right? And what was the output? The output was probably in the form of a shape, some color, some image, right? You see the disconnect in the way we are feeding information and the way the brain is processing and giving an output? Why does that happen? Because there are, some of you may have heard about the left and right side of the brain. The left side deals with numbers, words, and if you note, this is the way we are feeding information to the brain, with words, with numbers and lists and lines. But good for us, you have the right side of the brain also, where you see color, rhythm, imagination. Now, which side of the brain gets engaged when you listen to songs? Look carefully at this image and tell me, which side of the brain gets engaged when you listen to songs? Right side, okay. Right, okay, very fine. But if you look carefully, what are songs? Songs are words from the left combined with rhythm from the right, a combination. That's why it's so easy to remember a song. The moment you combine any left activity with any right activity, you are doing better than using only the left side. Okay? Now, in this image, most of you said I've got more than 20 points, right? There is a technique called mind maps. Mind maps is the simplest way of combining the left and right. Simplest way. They were given to this world by this gentleman called Tony Buzan almost 50 years ago. 50 years is a long time for any technique to be alive. It's still working. And not only working, it's used very well in academics and in the corporate world. Because whoever needs to use the brain needs to know how to feed information to it. And you've seen that mind maps is a very good memory tool as well. All of you have told me, most of us have gone up to the 20 to 30 bracket from those 30 words, right? Tony Buzan was working on this for the last 50 years. We lost him last year. But he said, I want to give the people a manual. He's written this book, Mind Maps for Business, out of 150 books that he has written. Mind Maps for Business, that means it is being used in the corporate world as well, published by BBC, is a very good book. Why? Because there is a photograph in that. And that photograph has me in that as well. So that's just the first Indian to get the license to train others in mind maps, speed reading, and memory. We were the first Indians to get that license. And then we were handpicked by Tony Buzan himself to establish the only center in the country. Even today, we are the only Buzan center. And that's what we do. We help you learn how to learn. I incidentally also hold the trademark for the term mind maps in the country. Now, let's see an example. Notes. How do we make notes? I'm sure you've seen hundreds and thousands of such passages, right? Now, which is better to look at, this or this one? All the information from that linear text is in this format, a mind map. This is better to look at. You will remember it better. Your brain will be more engaged. You will be able to retain better, recall better, even during the exam time. That's how powerful this technique is. And it could be used any and everywhere. Whatever you need to use your brain for, you need to know how to feed information to it using mind maps. Any information. Forget the days of linear text. Now is the time to get your brain engaged. So this is what we like to do. Now, you know what we've done? We are based in Pune. So when we are doing sessions in Mumbai, we found that heads of organizations were coming down to our center in Pune to learn how to create mind maps. So then what we did is now we've got our e-learning program on the mobile phone. We have these videos. These videos will teach you how to read fast from Just, who is the world speed reading champion, how to create mind maps from the Busan Center. I'm talking to you about that. I'm the CEO here. Memory techniques. Mind maps is one great memory technique, but we also share additional ones. And we've also shared the revision formula with you. How and when should we revise? Okay. What are the advantages of investing in that? Now, you will use your brain better. You can see the results instantaneously. I mean, you start reading twice as fast within a couple of days. You save a lot of time. You know, if you are reading at, let's say, 150 words a minute, and if you are able to double that reading speed with understanding, is it going to make a difference to your life? Definitely. You're going to save so much time. And you're going to be able to revise better. You'll start loving how to learn. Narendra Modi, our PM, has written a book called Exam Warriors, in which he has also recommended mind maps. Yep. So we've also got inspired and we've written a book. It's called Steps to Ace Your Exams. Okay. But yes, this is what we do. So we have the book and we have our e-learning program called, the app is called Awaken the Genius. It's available on the Play Store, App Store. The Play Store is already ready. App Store, we are doing some updates, so it might get through in a couple of days. So that's what I thought I'll share with you guys. Yes, Devesh, so if there are any questions that they'd like to ask me, I'll be very happy to answer them.
Superb. First of all, wonderful, sir. This is an amazing presentation, and I myself learned a lot here, and I would really love to improve my reading and memorizing skills. I will definitely take a look at the website and the app. So you mentioned that you have an app, you have a website. What are any other ways? And of course, you have the book. But what are any other opportunities for these students to engage with you and sort of to learn, develop their reading or learning skills?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, we have this institute here in Pune, but we found that there is a certain limitation to the number of people that we can impact when we do a one-on-one or a classroom setup, right? And now the world is looking at technology. So we've used technology. So the way that we've done it is the core, the techniques have been shared in the videos. Now the child has to pause where we tell them to pause. So the technique has been, let's say, speed reading. We've explained the technique. We say pause the video. You pause and you start reading in whatever you're reading, whatever you're studying, be it 10th standard, 12th standard. And the best part, Devesh, is that because it's on your mobile phone, if you have younger or older siblings, they can also learn it because it's at home.
Yeah.
Right? And this is something like, you know, cycling. You learn cycling once in your life and you won't forget it. This is the same way with these techniques. You learn them once and you keep implementing them all through your academics, all through your corporate work, and you're done. You're good with that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what are the what is the course duration, or if there are any charges? What are the charges associated with this?
Okay. So what we've done is that the videos, there are 3 videos called Basic, Higher, and Advanced. Each video has elements of these 3 techniques. So each video, the basic one will have 1 speed reading technique, the basic mind maps, 1 memory technique. Higher will also have 1. Advanced will also have 1. The last one, the advanced one, we also shared the formula for revision. Now, Each video is around 15-20 minutes long. Because when we went to the market and found out, we did a survey, most of the students were telling us our attention span is just 15-20 minutes, right? So we kept the video length that much. Now you can watch this video as many times as you want for as long as the subscription is valid. So the system is you download the video, you download the app, and you have to buy a serial key from us. When you enter the serial key in the app, that serial key will decide, according to how much you've paid, the duration of viewing the videos. So let's say we have 1 week video, which on my website is for 2,000 rupees. A 1 month video is available for 4,500 rupees. So let's say you've picked up a 1 month video. You can watch those videos as many times as you want during that 1 month. And for just 4,500. And if you look at it, Divesh, it is like a small fraction of the amount that parents are spending today on education.
Absolutely.
Once in a lifetime and one per family.
Yeah.
Today, the parents are spending huge amounts of money on tuition classes, right? Every year they have to pay it. This is once in a lifetime. That's how powerful it is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Superb, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, here is quite a specific question.
Sure.
I have a student is asking, I have a vast chemistry syllabus, and I don't like the subject much. Will it be possible for me to make mind maps for so much information in limited time?
Lovely. I'll just share my own experience. I was conducting this class, and this child on the first bench gave me the same thing. He says, "Sir, I cannot use it for chemistry." And in the same class, because I'm teaching a technique, I have younger kids, I have older kids, it doesn't matter, right? I'm not teaching any subject. So from the back bench, one child said, "Sir, this is my third mind map of chemistry." Great. Now, what did I tell this first bencher? I said, "Okay, sir. Okay, dear. You can't use mind maps for chemistry. Don't even try it. But what can you use them for?" So the child says, "Sir, I think I can use it for history. I think I can use it for geography." I said, "Great, just try that." He did it for history, geography, social studies, whatever he wanted. And the third class, he comes into my room and says, "Sir, I've tried a mind map of chemistry. Can you just see if it's working?" You know what happened? The brain has got used to it. The brain says, "Hey, if I can do history, why can't I do chemistry?" But if you think I cannot do chemistry, now, you know what I like to tell students is the brain, you've all heard of the Aladdin's lamp, right? You rub it and the genie comes out. What did the genie say? "Your wish is my command," right? Now, my belief is everybody has that genie, and that genie is the brain. If you tell your brain chemistry is difficult, well, what does the genie say? "Your wish is my command." The brain will say, "Yes, my dear, chemistry is difficult." You will believe it. Your brain will make you believe it even more. But if you show it how to work, you say, "I'm working on it. History is easy because I've done this. I will try chemistry." It will help you try and you will do better. There is nothing, no subject in the world that cannot be mind mapped. Any information that needs to go to your brain needs to do it in a better way.
Wonderful, superb. We have a coordinator from a primary school who wants to understand how can she help her students through your app.
Okay, so just go down to the App Store or the Play Store, download the app, and we can do that. And if she has any specific reason, I'm sure you can share my number or my mail ID. She can get in touch with me. I'll be very happy to help.
Superb. Sir, we are coming towards the end of the call.
Yeah.
Is there any final word of advice that you would like to share with the students, with the audience?
Students, I believe all of you are geniuses. You were born a genius. Now the challenge for you is to remain a genius. And I believe that these techniques are really going to help you not only now in your academics, but also in the future. Because, you know, in the corporate world, when I interact with CEOs and MDs, everybody says, we don't know what kind of jobs will be available 3 years and 5 years down the line. So when you are studying a certain subject today, be rest assured that it's going to be obsolete by the time you are coming into the corporate world. You need to know how to learn. The what to learn is very easy. Once you know how to learn, That's what we are helping you do. This is what we say, like the magic wand. Gift yourself this. It'll really help you in future.
Wonderful. Sir, I would just request you if you could type down your email ID in the chat box so that students can note it down.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I also copy the website busanpune.com. That's the one that you would like them to visit for additional information.
Right. And you could check out my website called awakenthegenius.org. Awakenthegenius.org is our website, and our app is called Awaken the Genius.
Okay. So all the students, all the audience members, we've given you all the details that you need, and of course, the contact details of Manish sir. Feel free to reach out to him, download the app, visit the website, and just see how you can benefit through these programs, these videos. Amazing opportunity. Make the best of it.
Yep.
Thank you so much, sir.
You know, all of you who like tennis, you know, it's something like Roger Federer is teaching you how to play tennis. When the world speed reading champion is teaching you how to read fast, it's something like that, right?
Super.
Opportunity, you should go for it. And you know, all of you who are wanting to go to the US, let me share something personal. My older daughter went to the US. She did her master's in biotechnology here, and then she went to University of Irvine, California. One day I get a text from her, Dad, there is a professor who's come here and he's teaching us mind maps. And then 5 minutes later, she types back, I know a lot more than he does. Because she's been with us for 15 years, she's learned that, right? My older daughter, my younger daughter, when she went to for her master's to Dublin, same thing. They had to read a passage fast, and she was the first person in the entire class. Amazing skills. Must. And this is world over. The globally, all universities, companies are using these techniques. It's about time that you do it here.
Wonderful. Superb. Thank you so much, sir. Great insights, a great presentation, really engaging. I think this was probably the most engaging webinars today so far. So thank you so much for this engagement with us. And I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with you.
Absolutely. Nice to be here. Thank you, Devesh.
Bye.
All the best, guys.